What is good, everybody? It's your boy Clouds, and in today's video I will be showing you guys how to get the wonder weapon on Black Ops Cold War Zombies on the new map Firebase Z. Now this tutorial on how to get this wonder weapon is super easy with simple little steps, so follow along one by one and try not to get lost, alright? Because there is some areas where you might get lost at, but do not worry. Once you get it down, it's gonna be simple and you can do it every single game. So if you are new, please hit that like, subscribe button, and let's get straight into this wonder weapon tutorial. Alright, so let's get into the first very step of this tutorial, and the first thing you will need to do is actually turn on the power. If you do not know how to do that, I do have a video on that as well, but if you already know how to do that, go ahead and turn on the power and as well as pack a punch. So once you have that on, go ahead and go over to this little room that I'm going to be showing you right here. You're going to see a little room that's going to open up once you turn on the power, and you're going to follow over and see this little computer right here and this little like weapon shop. Once you see the weapon shop, you're going to want to pick up the blueprint that's going to be right on the table. You're going to see it, you're not going to miss it, it's going to be right there. Once you pick that up, follow where I am going right here as you're going to see me in the gameplay. I'm going to run all over to the jungle side of the area where you're going to need to fight off some couple of zombies, but just keep following up to this area. All the way to the back you will find a tank and you will see a body laying down right there. All right, once you see that body, go over to it and it's going to tell you to pick something up, as well as go over to the zombie, and this cool little cinematic like cutscene is going to show up. It's really cool. I mean, I didn't think they were going to add something like this. It's really cool how they're going into the cinematic parts of this game. You're going to see that right there, this little cool cutscene. The zombie's going to come back to life. He's going to be like, motherfucker, what you doing with my eyeball? And you shank his ass right in the goddamn dome because he's dumb as hell. Alright, so once that is over, okay, once you do that, go over back to the computer station. That is the number one area that you're going to be going to like half of this tutorial. You're going to have to keep going back over there to keep placing things. So once you finally get the eyeball, go run back all over to the area where I showed you the first time. And you want to make sure to place the eyeball into the little computer thing. You're going to see it. It's going to do this little cool little animation thing as well. And you finish with that step. Once you're finished with that, of course, the bottom drawer is going to open and you're going to have to pick up that little key right there that you're going to find, or whatever the hell that is. I think it's a key. I don't really know. Once you have those keys, run up to these barracks that you're going to see right in the middle of the map, and in between those barracks you're going to see some beds, and you're also going to see some lockers in between them. Make sure to use the key to open up a whole bunch of lockers. Now this step is different for a lot of people, because if you open a specific locker, one of them little murmur things or whatever the hell, those big old things with the eyeballs and like tentacles, they're going to spawn in and you're going to have to kill them. Alright, at least one of them is going to spawn up every time you open a locker, but if they do not spawn up in the locker, try to open up another locker and see if you actually get this little creature. This might take a couple of attempts just because some of the lockers aren't as equal as other people's. So if you get a monster that pops up in one of the lockers, kill him, and if he drops an item, go ahead and pick that up. Some of them might not have it, so make sure you pick up the right part. It's actually going to show at the top right when you pick up the right part. Here's an example. I killed this little thing right here, this little creep. I don't even know what to call him, bro. I know his name's right there, but I don't know. So as you can see right here, once you find this part that I specifically picked up, boom, you're finished with that step. Congratulations. Now this step is a little bit more difficult, so I do recommend if you're playing by yourself to use decoy grenades, but if you are playing with a friend, make sure they save a zombie for this step that you're going to need right here. Now in this step is going to be a little bit hard. I'm going to try to explain it to you the best I can. You're going to see this little like pie chart right here at the little screen of this computer, and you're gonna see it kind of moving right and even left. It's gonna kind of like make beeping noises and stuff like that. So what you will need to do is, I will try to put a dart thing right here. Right, this is a little dart chart that you're gonna need to have like an example of, but right here you're gonna need to make sure to count how many times the thing moves to the right and how many things it moves to the left. Now I know that's pretty hard to explain, all right, so I'm gonna show you a little bit kind of an example. So for me, it moved at least 17 times to the right, and remember that number, remember 17, all right? And after that, it's gonna move over to the left. All right, so once it moves over to the left, you want to also count how many times it moves over to the left. So for me, it moved over to the left at least 12 times, so I remember that number, and then it's gonna do it one more time to the right. Once you see that, you're gonna move over to the right and see where the last place charted on the chart. I really hope that made sense. I know it was really hard. This was probably the hardest attempt for me to try to do it. It was probably the most difficult part of this whole like tutorial, just because I struggled with the little chart. Just make sure you remember the numbers. Just count how many numbers it moves over to the right, and also how many numbers it moved over to the left, and another number to the right. So you will need these three numbers. All right, once you have those numbers and you remember all of them, or write it down if you need to. So once you finally do those steps and you finally like got down the numbers and all of that stuff on the chart, go over to spawn where you spawn in at the beginning of the game, and you're gonna run over to this little room where you're gonna find a dart chart. I don't really know if that's how it's called, but I call it a dart chart. Just go over to that. You're gonna need to go to it, and it's gonna resemble the little screen that was on the computer. Now remember how I said my numbers were 17. I'm going to count over 17 times. Once I count over 17 times, I do shoot that number that I landed on, and I move over to the left 12 more times because I remember that was my second number. So once I do that, I'll also shoot the number, and the third and last number is you move over to the right however much times it did for you. It's not going to be the same for everybody. Once you get those three down, make sure to shoot the middle of the dead eye or the bullseye, whatever you call it. Once you shoot the middle, it's going to pop open, and that's how you know that you completed it correctly and you finally completed the challenge. If it didn't open for you correctly, you might want to go back to the chart and make sure to count kind of slowly, and maybe that'll help out. Now for this last and very final step, you will need to actually be at round 15 or above, alright, because you will need a mangler to spawn in, which is one of those creatures creatures that has them fat ass arms that shoot at you. You know, my boy trying to be like Iron Man or something. And you will need to make sure to kill one of these guys, alright? Make sure to shoot him in his hand wherever he has that weapon at, and he will drop something that you will need for the weapon. You need to make sure to kill him in this way specifically. Make sure to shoot at his arm, and this is the only way he will drop that last part for you. Now once you finally got the part, you will need to go back to that little room area, and you're gonna see this little area right here where I'm gonna show you, and you're gonna need to place down the little ammo magazine size right there. So what you're gonna need to do after this is wait 2 rounds. So make sure you go just play the game like normal, and after 2 rounds has passed by, you go back to the little table, you pick it right up, and boom pow, you're pretty much done. You go back to the little crafting table where you first picked up the blueprint, and you start building it, ladies and gentlemen. After that, you are now able to use this weapon. It is super OP. This shit is a beam, bro. Like literally, if you run into one of those mimics or even the mangler, you're gonna one-shot them every single time. Now you're probably wondering, can I pack a punch this? How do I make it even better than it already is? Yes, you can. Alright, you are able to pack a punch it at least 3 times like a regular single weapon, and this thing is a beam. Alright, it obliterates every single zombie. It like pretty much like makes them vanish, which is pretty cool. And this wonder weapon, I believe, is probably the best one like right now. Actually, it's low-key fun to use and like run around and start shooting with. You can also use a different type of variant, or like a weapon or ammo variant, where it drops like a big old little bomb and the zombies start running to it and start dying. So yeah, you are able to pack a punch this weapon, so do not worry. Go ahead and pack a punch it at least 3 times, and bro, best believe this gun's gonna be super OP. You're gonna want to get this gun every single time you play Firebase Z. It was kind of simple, at the same time not really. If you're doing it for the very first time, it's probably gonna be a little bit difficult, but once you get the hang of it, you're gonna figure it out and stuff like that, and now you're ready to go on for life. So I really hope you did enjoy this video. Please drop a fat like, subscribe if you are new. Let me know if you guys want to see some more zombie videos. I will greatly start providing them. And yeah, go ahead and enjoy this new wonder weapon, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.